What's up, Marks? Do not adjust your cameras. This is the actual Brainless one as we speak. And we have a very special Friday edition of the FM Marks podcast. And I am just waiting for Cousin Jay to jump in here momentarily. And when he gets in here, we can get things rolling. We got quite a bit we're going to get into. A little bit of a preview I'll give you guys. We got Hell in a Cell this weekend. We had TakeOver last weekend. A bunch of other news and notes. Stuff like that. So I'm excited for this week's episode. I'm so excited that I lost my beard. I'm just kidding. So, looking forward to this. It's going to be a really good show. Cover a lot of bases. We had some title changes this week. Other interesting things that have happened in professional wrestling as well. And we have...
Yeah?
What's up, Cousin Jay?
Hey, not much, man. It's a Friday, a special edition of the F and Marks podcast, and all sorts of stuff going on. Like you said, title matches, Vince McMahon losing his dang mind and putting a Hell in a Cell match on free TV tonight. I don't know if it's chicanery, but the wrestling guru, your favorite Dave Meltzer, said that the logic is not logic.
Speaking of Meltzer, real quick before we get into the intro, I finally watched the Dark Side of the Ring with on the Dynamite Kid.
Yep.
And they had Dave Meltzer in there, and he was talking about it. And he was like, "I'm Dave Meltzer, and I do this, and this." And I was like, "Well, anytime you want to mention that you blow Kenny Omega, that'd be great too."
Yeah.
So let's get into the introduction. Welcome.
Yeah.
To episode 226 of the F and Marks podcast.
I'm Jay.
And I am the beardless one this week.
Yeah.
I really...
The last time you did that, you said it was the worst decision of your life. What are you thinking? Why did you do this again?
I told Nicole that I was thinking about trimming it. And she said that please do it as soon as you possibly can because of stuff that's going on later this year. And she wanted to make sure I was fully bearded for that.
Yeah.
I will say this, the 5 o'clock shadow is actually is looking really good right now.
that way, you could get that Brett Favre look. Brett Favre.
I heard she sent the picture of me with the mustache.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
It was a good look.
Yeah, it looked just like the El Diablo Blanco.
You know, there's a new thing out there now where people, what they'll do is they'll have the mustache, but they actually have a mustache underneath the mustache.
Interesting.
I think it's going to be as popular as the man bun at some point.
I don't think so, Tim. Man bun is, you know how I feel about man buns.
Oh, I know. Greatest thing ever. So, anyway, so several things to get into tonight. I mean, we're going to go over the takeover in your house results. We're going to go get our Hell in a Cell predictions down. We're going to do a slight preview of tonight's SmackDown and tonight's Dynamite. And we'll talk a little bit other news and notes beyond that.
You know what the best part about tonight is, Jay? Other than the fact that I wish I had a 40.
What's that?
I got notes.
Holy crap, you got notes.
Yes.
Good for you.
Luckily, Nicole wrote them for me as I was saying them so I could actually read what the hell the chicken scratch was.
Yeah, your chicken scratch, man, is terrible.
I ain't even mad about that.
Yeah. So,
so what do you want to discuss first?
Hey, you know what? Let's start with the breaking tremendous news on the baby front for both Jon Moxley and Renee Paquette and Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Both of them this week.
Yes.
Baby girls delivered.
It's incredible.
Congratulations
to
both couples.
It's great. And, you know, Jon Moxley actually came out and did an interview this week, and somebody had asked him if his daughter wanted to get into professional wrestling, how would he feel? And from what I gathered, he said he wouldn't be opposed to her being a professional wrestler. Obviously, we're getting a little bit of a taste of that with AEW, with the way that -1 is now the official leader of the Dark Order.
Well, and also talk about it. Part of the preview for tonight's Dynamite is we have the Enforcer's son making his debut on AEW Dynamite. Brock Anderson will be teaming with Cody Rhodes. So apparently Cody is, there for the birth, and seems like I haven't heard anything different, that he is going to be on Dynamite tonight. So
he'll find a way to get there.
Right. Yeah. Brock Anderson looks an awful lot like his dad, and you could tell he specifically made the beard to look like his dad's, classic beard from the Horseman days.
Right.
So
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Congratulations to both couples on the births of their daughters this week. And in typical WWE pettiness, when Renee Paquette announced that she had given birth, WWE had congratulated her and not Jon Moxley.
Yep.
So
he's the competition.
So clearly they didn't say anything about Brandy and Cody. So
right. Yeah.
It's such good shit.
Yeah. So there was that. One thing that we didn't mention last week that did come to fruition this week is Samoa Joe did show up on NXT, and we did find out what his role is going to be with NXT. I thought it was an interesting choice with what they did.
You know what, Jay? Like, there was a lot of speculation about what NXT was going to do because Joe was seen at the Performance Center on Monday. A lot of people were wondering if he was going to take over for William Regal, if he was going to help William Regal. And clearly with him in the role that he's in, it's clear as day that they wanted to have him kind of like work with Regal and all that stuff. And I tell you, when I first heard about it, I was very skeptical because I didn't know like how this was going to work. But that first night, I'm sold. I'm on board with it.
One thing I'll say for it, you have to suspend your disbelief for a couple of seconds, because like Regal goes out there and more or less says, "I'm going to resign. I want Samoa Joe to be the person that takes over." If you're leaving a company, there's somebody who hires you. The person who hires Regal will be somebody above him. So why would Regal get the opportunity to name his successor? And then all of a sudden, 3 seconds later, Regal's like, "Oh, you know what? You as my enforcer, you know what? No, I'm going to stay on my job." It's like, I understand they had to sit there and do stuff like that to get through trying to explain what I just said quickly on TV, why all these things could happen.
Right.
You'd get stuck in the mud trying to explain it. So, they took the fast route around. But
yeah,
if nothing else, I like the role for Joe. It allows him to get physical without putting him in harm's way.
I love the fact that he already had his first physical confrontation this week, because with the whole O'Reilly and Adam Cole thing. And Adam
Cole, baby.
We'll get the timing down right.
Yeah.
But like, I love the fact that they had that interaction backstage, and and obviously, Samoa Joe can't get physical unless he's provoked. So of course, with Adam Cole shoving Joe and Joe going behind him and just putting him in the headlock and just putting him to sleep, I was like,
clutch, man. Yeah, Mike, it is, with what they've been doing storyline-wise with Regal, where it was talking about, he's got no control of the NXT locker room. I'm like going, are they writing him off TV? What's going on with this? And then when it came out that Samoa Joe was going to be taking a non-wrestling role, I'm like, So, I mean, they definitely for people that were in the know reading dirt sheets were definitely trying to skew you, like going, oh, Samoa Joe is going to be the one who's going to take over as GM for NXT.
Right.
So it was a cool little swerve. The logic was a little wonky, but again, that they only have so much time to get this stuff planned and out.
Yeah. Again, I'm 100% on board with this because any Samoa Joe is better than no Samoa Joe in WWE.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, this just speaks to all those releases that they did a few weeks ago. It's like clearly there are certain things that they're restructuring for because they've rehired a bunch of people that they let go last year from the road crew because obviously they're going on tour again. So they've rehired some of them. They've hired new people. It looks like Molly Holly is going to become one of the agents at some point. They've had her do a couple of test runs on Monday Night Raw, and it seems everybody seems to like her in that role. But beyond that, there are a lot of people similar to what we did in the last couple of weeks, like going, why did you do all these vignettes with Aleister Black, make a big deal out of him, and then you cut him? There are a lot of people that have gone all the way to the top and spoken on behalf for Aleister Black because they thought it was a premature move by Vince McMahon to cut him. So and again, it goes back to the talking points that we've had for the past, year plus when they were trying to say, oh, well, we're letting go of people because of COVID. It's like you had your most profitable year ever. You're going to have your most profitable year again. There's no reason for them to have to do this. You have 3 hours of Raw. You have main event. You have NXT. You have SmackDown. All sorts of places that you can utilize these people, and you just utilize them poorly. And then when people see them on TV, they think nothing of them. Think of this. They brought Jinder Mahal back a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Raw to squash Jeff Hardy. We have not seen Jinder Mahal since. We've seen Jeff Hardy since, but not Jinder Mahal. What was their plan for him?
And what really gets me is that I'm still going to stick with the fact that Monday Night Raw is drizzle shits. It is just absolutely terrible broadcasting. It gets tougher and tougher to watch every week. And this past wasn't any different because of the fact that they had Jeff Hardy go up against John Morrison in the match. He loses the match to John Morrison and then says, I want one more match and I'm going to put my career on the line against
Cedric Alexander.
And then he beats Cedric Alexander. And I know a lot of people were thinking that Jeff Hardy was going to lose that match so he could go to AEW so that him and the mower of lawns could actually be a tag team once again.
The slammer of tornadoes.
I like it.
So there are a lot of things going on with WWE that you're just like, but the biggest one of them, like, came, what was it, yesterday? Where all of a sudden they said, Rey Mysterio challenged on Twitter Roman Reigns to the Hell in a Cell match because he just couldn't wait to get his hands on him. And we're getting that Hell in a Cell match tonight.
And how crazy is it? Because this is the first time they've done a non-pay-per-view for the Hell in a, like the Hell in a Cell match is on a non-pay-per-view since 1998, which by all accounts means it was on Monday Night Raw. And this is the first time in the history of WWE that there's a Hell in a Cell match on SmackDown tonight.
I know sometimes they do things like this to help sell the pay-per-view coming up. I've heard that there are no plans for Roman Reigns to be on the show on Sunday. Like, I thought maybe there was going to be sort of some effed up finish and okay, we're just going to get the match again come Sunday. So that way, instead of you getting your rematch with Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns next week on SmackDown, the rematch will be on the pay-per-view. So they did a pre-match.
Right.
So, but it doesn't, like, this was one of your main storylines that you were building the show towards, and now you've just, like, for whatever reason, there was one belief out there that maybe it was because the NBA playoffs were eating into WWE's ratings, so they wanted to make a big splash for people to want to tune into their show, so they're doing the Hell in a Cell match. Personally, this is me, I think they might be doing it so the Charlotte Rhea Ripley match could be made a Hell in a Cell match on Sunday, because they don't want to have 3 matches in the cell.
But then my only problem with that is that means Raw gets both Hell in a Cell matches at the pay-per-view, and I think that both shows should each get one.
Yeah.
But then and then the fact that you're still going to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches in the span of 48 hours.
What's up, Larry? How you doing, man?
What's up, Larry?
But there are just so many things going on as far as WWE and their wonderful booking that just it's like Buzz Killington. It's like Buzz Killington.
Who here wants to hear a story about a bridge?
Hello, Peter. Yeah, so, but we'll get more in depth with that coming up soon. But you want to go over in your house NXT Takeover?
Yes, let's get into the NXT Takeover in your house last week.
Yeah.
First of all, what a great way to start the show. The fact that they started off with MSK and Bronson Reed going up against Legado del Fantasma, and wow, what a
great match.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I was kind of on the fence about Bronson Reed since he came in there. I'm like, yeah, he looks like a big dude and he can do all this stuff. Boy, I'll tell you, he impressed the shit out of me on Sunday.
I'll put it this way. I think he is a more athletic, more talented in-ring performer than Otis Dozovich. Character-wise, the Dozer has it in spades, but if you're talking about like what Bronson Reed does in the ring, when he does his frog splash off the top ropes, being a 330-pound dude, it looks freaking awesome. When he ended that match with that, it was what we predicted. We knew that team was going to win. Mm-hmm. I did love Legado del Fantasma's entrance at TakeOver. Thought that was really cool. One thing I'm looking forward to with TakeOver, though, is that the next ones we have hopefully are in front of people, and hopefully those special entrances that they did for like Bobby Roode for all those years, that they did for Shinsuke Nakamura, that those things will be incorporated once again, and it will feel like a large presentation. Whereas like last weekend, one thing with the announcers where it's like, please stop mentioning that. It's like you have like 200 people in there and they were trying to make it sound like this was the biggest crowd that has ever watched NXT. It's like they stole out the Barclays Center. Come on.
And you see that I just got Omega, Owens, and X-Pac already.
Yes.
I love, and one thing about the match that I really loved was that near the end of it where they had that bump with Pablo Escobar where he was going to put the mask on and do whatever he was going to do, and then Bronson Reed came running over and just bulldozed him through the frick. Oh my God, that was so awesome.
It was.
And his tope suicida was really good for a 330-pounder.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Yeah, no doubt. And with a guy like Bronson Reed, if he gets to the main roster, I don't see this as a problem. I think Vince McMahon may see this as a problem. The fact that he doesn't have the quote-unquote American accent, which is complete bullcrap, but that might be a detriment to him. I know, thankfully, like Vince has a little bit moved away from that because we've gotten Sheamus as champion, gotten Drew McIntyre as champion. So maybe you get a guy like Bronson Reed, who is big, athletic, and I think has potential to be a good character. Maybe he can do something up on the main roster. But again, look at what they did with Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm.
They had him have a couple of good victories, but then they started 50-50 booking him, and now he's been vacant.
Yes.
So.
And it's crazy because I really like to know what the frig they're doing with him.
I mean, for a bit they were saying it was something to do with injury or something along those lines. It seemed like it might be a COVID thing, but, you know, I know different people have healed at different paces when they've gotten COVID. So maybe it's that, but the way he kind of tweets, it doesn't sound like that's a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like creative has nothing for him.
It's such a shame because that man is super talented.
Well, with all the releases they've done, if they don't plan to do anything, release the guy. Let him, you know, continue his career somewhere else.
I agree. And I think that eventually he will make his return to WWE, but only time will tell. Because it's not even just him, because even his, fiance, I think.
Yeah. Me and Yim.
Yeah, him and me and Yim. Neither one of them have been on television after they just broke up Retribution like a couple months ago.
And we haven't seen Slapjack in a few weeks either.
Yes! Within 20 minutes, I've been Omega, and we got Slapjack on the show. This is great.
Yeah! All right.
Oh, man.
One of the matches we had after that was a ladder match for the $1 million title with LA Knight going against Cameron Grimes. Now, we have been vocal about, one, no love for the LA Knight name and the booking of said LA Knight since he's been in NXT.
Eli Drake.
He needed to win this.
Oh, absolutely.
In the worst way. A guy like Cameron Grimes, with the way they've showed his character and booked him, losing was not going to hurt him. And losing the way he did and what ended up happening on NXT on Wednesday, which was basically, you could tell LA Knight just manipulated the situation to get what he wanted to get, and he ended up taking out Ted DiBiase, and now Cameron Grimes has now become a face again. And I enjoy Cameron Grimes as a performer, as an entertainer, and I hope that DiBiase becomes his manager. Grimes can speak for himself, but sometimes even when you can speak for yourself, having that mouthpiece or a manager that it can add something to your presentation, i.e. Paul Heyman with CM Punk, Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Not necessary, but adds to what's going on.
And that's exactly what I was going to say too. And I love this whole thing because it's even good having the babyface chasing the heel champion too, because it helped get Cameron Grimes over more than he is right now. And I think that him working with Eli Drake is going to be the best decision to do, because I'm telling you right now, Eli Drake has it all. He is a great in-ring performer. He is great on the microphone. He's got charisma. He's got everything that you look for in a big-time star, and that was the right move.
Absolutely.
Title. So,
Jessica, what's going on?
What's up, Jessica?
In. You know, this will be the beginning of LA Knight not only being the $1 million champion, he will be the NXT champion.
Oh, 100%. I want to say it was, I think it was Wade Barrett came out and did an interview and said that Eli Drake is that good, he could see him main eventing WrestleMania at some point.
No doubt. And I will say that that'll probably happen in 5 years. Within 5 years.
Okay. I like that. I was saying 5 years, I'm like, by then, the Iron Sheik should definitely be in the ring at WrestleMania.
Maybe. And by the way, if you haven't tweeted it out, if you haven't shared our Facebook post, make sure you do. Get the Iron Sheik to WrestleMania 38. Bobby Heenan may have joked about it at WrestleMania 17, but we are not joking about it. We want to see the Iron Sheik make it to the ring at WrestleMania 38. Preferably, he and Hulk Hogan either have a truce or Iron Sheik puts him in the camel clutch.
Oh my God, I want Hogan and Sheik in 38. I don't even care what happens. They can play tic-tac-toe. All I care.
Yeah.
But speaking of NXT Takeover, we also got Xia Li going up against Mercedes Martinez.
You know, with this match, with the character and with how they booked Xia Li, it was clear she was going to win. It was a question for me, was it going to be a squash match and what was going to happen? And it was a very competitive match. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I did.
Xia Li going over, the right move, and then I always forget the woman in the chair, what her name was, but it was the first time she got physical.
I'm not going to tell you what I've been calling her.
Come on, just let it out.
Nancy
Let it out.
I told you I didn't want to say it. I don't want to offend anybody, but she looks like Nancy Pelosi.
Okay. You know what? That's spot on. Spot on.
And I'll tell you, like, I love the ending of that too, because the lady, for the life of me, I can't.
I forget her name. Yeah.
The fact that she grabbed her and threw her off so good.
Into the large crowd at the Capitol's Wrestling Center, all 35 of them.
Hey, that would have been a large crowd for Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling.
Yes, absolutely.
But a lot of people are speculating that because Mercedes Martinez was basically taken out after the match, that they're speculating that means that Mercedes Martinez is going to the main roster.
It'd be interesting to see how she's utilized going forward.
Yeah.
I don't know where she would, which show she would go on and what she would do, but maybe they'd do something good. Most likely, they would not. Yeah.
So on the scale of Elias and the Ascension, where do you think she's at if she makes it to the main roster?
I think she's closer to Ascension level at this moment, and that would be terrible.
Yeah, because she's a hell of a worker.
She is.
She's also
she deserve better than that.
You know, that's the one from Dirty Water, right?
What was that?
You know, that's the one from the Dirty Water.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Just like another Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks.
There you go.
Mercedes was in Retribution, and then she was like, yeah, I don't want to do this garbage anymore.
Yeah.
And she got herself sent back to NXT, and she made the right decision because everybody that was in Retribution did not end up higher on the card. They ended up like in catering.
Yeah.
And making a plate mask.
Which is funny too, because speaking of Retribution, Vanessa Bourne came out in an interview this week and said that she was actually pitched the idea of being in Retribution as well. Obviously, she's, designated for assignment.
Right. So there was that. We did have Raquel Gonzalez defending her NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon. It was clear that, and it's still clear, they really don't have a lot of competitors lined up to go against Raquel. And Ember is still kind of sort of with Shotzi Blackheart as a tag team, going against The Way at some point, maybe again.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed somebody legit to go against Raquel Gonzalez that you could believe could have a shot. I enjoyed how they booked this match. They booked it as if Raquel was like the giant and Ember was doing everything she could to chop the giant down.
Mhm.
The near falls were great in this match. In the end, you got Mercedes or Raquel Gonzalez going over, and very solid match.
Absolutely. And that was definitely one of Ember Moon's best matches since she's returned from the Achilles injury.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she looked really good.
I liked how they brought that into the commentary too, how she had an Achilles injury that has ended many careers, and there was talk for a while that she might not come back, and it was it was a Hall of Famer that helped her get back.
Mm-hmm.
Edge, who had gone through the Achilles injury, told Ember what to expect and what to do to get herself ready for a possible return, and what things to do, what things to avoid to give her the best possible chance to continue her wrestling career. Obviously, she's able to still do it and still do it at a high level. Really good match. Like Dakota Kai, like doing the things where like she pulled Raquel Gonzalez's leg onto the rope and like hid underneath the ring. Like Dakota Kai is like the low key MVP, like MVP
Mm-hmm.
for Bobby Lashley for Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez does not get where she's at right now without Dakota Kai.
Oh, I agree.
And maybe, again, depending on how long this title reign is, maybe we end up seeing that match in the future. Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez, but that would probably be a year or two out.
And
Similar to Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
right. And that was even something that I had pitched when she first won the title, too. I said, I can see this where it eventually leads to Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the title. And it's just going to be all when WWE is going to pull the trigger on it. And you know how WWE is. It could take up to a year or two, but they could do it like next month.
Well, and that's what kind of Mike is saying. He thinks it'll be within the next three pay-per-views, which would be about nine months from now. It's possible. It's certainly possible. They've been together for a little bit up until now, and you could sow the seeds of dissension fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Then we had the main event in the Fatal 5-Way match, which I was so thrilled about a Fatal 5-Way match because 5 is such an odd number. Get it?
Yeah.
We had Johnny Gargano. We had Kyle O'Reilly. We had Pete Dunne. We had the champion Karrion Kross. And we had
Adam Cole, baby!
For a Fatal 5-Way match, wow, what a fucking good match that was.
It was. And going into the show, you know, we both made the pick of Kyle O'Reilly. As I was watching the show, I was like, Karrion Kross is winning this match.
Oh, yeah.
The way that they kind of built up what was going on within the show, I'm like, Kross has to win. Kross has to win with how they're doing this. It makes him look incredibly strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he called out all the people that wanted a shot at him. He called them all out and said, I'll take you all on. And he beat them all. Now, what does this do for the future of him? Who is going to be the next to step up? Because, again, if you go by the logic of real human beings, not WWE, those 4 people should be off the table for a little bit. Who is the next person that you would think they could have step up? Do you have the North American champion do that? I don't know.
I mean, if we take WWE booking into consideration, like the most logical one is one of the 3 people who didn't eat the pinfall, and the person that comes to mind for me would be Pete Dunne. can be like, I didn't get pinned in that match. So technically, I didn't lose that match. So I deserve a shot. And I would love to see Karrion Kross and Pete Dunne. But in typical WWE booking, you got to figure that it's Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is just me. With NXT UK, who the heck knows what's going on? You know what match I want to see? I want to see Karrion Kross versus Walter. In a match like that, I feel like it would need to, like, if NXT decided that they were going to do time limits, do a time limit draw where they just beat the holy heck out of each other.
Oh, absolutely.
But leading up to this match, I like the fact that, other people within the Fatal Five-Way were trying to sort of break down the fourth wall, talking about like, oh, why is this guy given the special entrance? Oh, all he does is pose and make noises with his mouth. Like, really, what does he do? But again, he silenced everybody by winning. He won this match. So when we made our predictions, it felt like Karrion Kross should continue as champion, but it felt like Kyle O'Reilly had a certain amount of momentum. And that maybe this was the time that they were going to hot shot the title on him and see what happens moving forward. But Karrion Kross keeps the title again. I don't know who they're going to have step up next. Triple H is smart enough to not do the let's beat our champion in a non-title match bullcrap. So they'll figure out some way to get the next challenger. But I like the fact that Kross won, and this was a really, really good and enjoyable show.
Oh, 100%. And it's like I've said this before. I've probably said it after every post NXT Takeover show we've ever had. We have yet still to see a bad NXT Takeover.
No, there have been occasional ones where you're like, it wasn't transcendental, but it was solid. Where, with WWE, it's like, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and I will put that 100% entirely on Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He puts so much pressure on these people that they screw up and they're sitting there fearing for their lives for when they go back behind the curtain and Vince is like, this was not good shit, pal. This was not good shit, ma'am. And in NXT, as much as Triple H with his golden shovel during the golden shovel era between like 2002 to about 2014 kind of sucked if you were a talent going against him, he understands wrestling and he books the show very straightforward. You have a good guy, you have a bad guy, and let's tell the story of that and let's move forward. I wish Vince was a little bit more like that.
I agree. I 100% agree. Jessica asked, have we read the comments about Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie getting sued?
Yes, they're getting sued because of their Middle East deal, which they allegedly had some insider knowledge that like Middle East deal that they had in Saudi Arabia was going to fall through, but yet they led investors to believe that it was on solid ground and that everything was all good. But at the same time, they sold a whole crap ton of stock, which ended up being for several $100 million. That's called insider trading, and that means you should go to jail for a long time.
Ooh, can we just send Vince?
Based off of everything we know and have seen over the past several years, what does this mean in the end? They will end up not going to jail, not getting fined, because they're going to find
A loophole.
some obscure little thing that allows it to be okay. And I just don't like that. I don't like when people will skirt the rules and profit for themselves and kind of screw all the, regular people out there. But whatever. Mike Rainey earlier was saying something about he cannot wait until Vince is gone, but then also said we all know that's not happening anytime soon. And when we talked about it last week about WWE possibly getting bought,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're bought, guess what? That doesn't mean Vince goes away. Usually what ends up happening for things like that is a company will buy the other company, but they will keep most of the people that are at the head of the table, not Roman Reigns.
I mean, they're
Probably Roman Reigns too, but they will take most of the people that are near the top of the corporate structure, keep them in power, because guess what? As much as we as wrestling fans do not like Vince McMahon and the decisions he's making, if you're talking business decision-wise,
Mhm.
WWE is more profitable than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an investor, what do you want to see? You want to see profits. You want to see money. So if Vince McMahon has made them more profitable than ever, if he has become a terrible booker, but a great business mind, they don't give a crap. So I think even if WWE's bought, we're still going to get Vince McMahon. So,
And honestly, Jay, at the end of the day, I would rather them keep Vince McMahon if it meant they got rid of the bucktooth beaver.
I don't think he's going to go away either. There are too many dams to build. There are too many bridges to cross.
Oh, he's the worst. He is the Jean Ralphio.
The worst.
He's bad.
Yeah.
Wait till he gets fired and they do a Dark Side of the Ring on him.
Right. That time when the dam had water flowing through it. Yeah, more porous than Hoover.
It should be called Damn You, Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. All right, so that was Takeover.
Yes.
A very good show.
Fantastic.
And when they carried it over into NXT, again, we talked about William Regal, Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about LA Knight and Cameron Grimes and what they did with $1 Million Man.
Yeah, we did.
But we did have Kushida, who had an open challenge. And Trey Baxter was the one who answered the challenge. Really, really solid match between the two of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kushida going over, but in the end, after the match, after Kushida goes over,
Mm-hmm.
the big nugget is Kyle O'Reilly, who's been in the main event picture, is now challenging Kushida next week. It didn't say whether or not he's going for the Cruiserweight title, nothing like that. But there are a couple of things also mentioned in this is Kyle O'Reilly will be going against Adam Cole, baby, in a pick your poison match. And the thing that was a little bit confusing, it sounds like they might be going against each other a couple of times, where there's going to be a pick your poison match, but then there's going to be a match, I think, after that. But the pick your poison kind of sounds similar to the Vader versus Cactus Jack spin the wheel, make the deal match from Halloween Havoc.
I remember that.
So anytime we get the two of these guys in the ring, sign me up for it. Me personally, I don't love the complete presentation of Kyle O'Reilly. I think I don't know, man. Something about his hair looks crazy to me, and when he's wearing the hats that aren't as good as mine, you know.
Yeah, your hat's gonna be in our Hall of Fame.
Right, possibly. But things like that, when I see O'Reilly, I'm like going, But things can be tweaked with the presentation.
Yeah.
For O'Reilly, the fact that he's calling out Kushida so we could get a 4 to 5 star match on television. Thank you, Triple H.
Yeah.
I'll take that. So we had that. But yeah, we're going to get more Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, baby! Coming up. And again, that is fine by me. I'll take that. One thing we did have here also on NXT this week is Nicole's favorite tag team, Breezango, went against Imperium, and they kind of got a cheap victory. Imperium ended up beating down Breezango after the match. This feud will continue. One thing I appreciate about NXT is it's not always about just the team who's the tag team champions. Imperium and Breezango locked in a feud. Imperium feeling like they disrespected or losing to a team that they feel is inferior to them. Got them fired up. Then you also have on the show, you had the Grizzled Young Veterans going against Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa, and they had it in Texas Tornado tag team rules, which means everybody's in the ring all the time. It's all legal, and this was a fan-freaking-tastic match between these 4 individuals. Even though Grizzled Young Vets are the established team and Thatcher and Ciampa are the new team, they had Thatcher and Ciampa go over. Does this mean that they're the next in line going against MSK? Or there are a few teams within the mix that are not going to have to get a bullshit non-title win against the champions to be elevated. You have actual teams going against other actual teams to try to get to that next level. So they have booked this tag team division really well, where you actually you've got a handful of teams that are warring against each other, and you actually have the tag team champions with people that are gunning for them and trying to step up the ladder. So I like how they're booking the tag team division, and I'm looking forward to see when we get Thatcher and Ciampa going against MSK.
And I'll tell you, Ciampa and Thatcher have the bar feel to them. Because remember, they were feuding with each other before they were put into a tag team and entered the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and they actually did pretty well in there. And now they look like they could be the #1 contenders for the tag team titles against MSK.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how much chemistry they have and how well they work as a team.
Absolutely. So, Mike, as far as Roderick Strong goes, I think the plan is with him is just to give him some time off. There's been nothing out there that actually says that his contract ran out. There's nothing out there as far as any of that goes that he is not with WWE anymore. It's all storyline. One of the predictions that we thought was going to come to fruition, we thought Bobby Fish was going to be a deciding factor in the Fatal 5-Way. He did not show up at NXT TakeOver in Your House. And Roderick Strong still not showing up. I think all of these things are going to come into the mix, whether it's coming up with the Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly match with the Pick Your Poison or something else. They are going to show up. They're going to do something. I don't know what, but I think we'll be seeing more of them soon.
I agree. And one thing I would love to see if they were going to do something like that with O'Reilly and Cole is I'd like to see either like Roderick Strong or Bobby Fish potentially be like the special guest referee to see if like they show any kind of allegiance to one or the other or help one of them win the match or something. I think something like that would be just intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that. So that's NXT. That's TakeOver. Moving right along.
Yeah.
All right. Monday Night Raw. There were a couple of interesting tidbits that happened there. We had a re-debuting Ava Marie picking up where she left off, which is not doing much. Kind of sort of stealing the Miz gimmick from a few years ago with the intellectual savior of the masses. Why am I playing?
Damien Sandow.
Yes. With the stunt double. So, poor Naomi.
Yeah.
Who, if I'm remembering right, is a multiple-time SmackDown Women's Champion, lost mostly in a squash match to Piper Vixen, who they still haven't officially named her. But
I got it. They're allegedly because they paid for the rights to a certain thing.
Yeah.
Trademarked it to be, to non-brainless myself. Dewdrop.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It is. The West.
I'm gonna tell you this much, Jay. I am definitely going to mention this right here is going to be part of what I say later on in the show.
One thing I'll say for Ava Marie, get off the tanning bed, please. You want to talk about somebody being orange? She was orange and pink.
She looked like a troll doll.
And you know me, I may wait and see. I hope that they do something fun and interesting with this storyline. If it's getting Piper more exposure and takes her to that next level, great. Ava Marie.
Oh, shit.
And that's all I got to say about that. But you know me, I still want to see Nia Jax versus Ava Marie.
And you know me, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. Speaking of Nia Jax had a match against Alexa Bliss on Monday Night Raw after we had the horror show the week before with poor Shayna Baszler getting scared by Lily. Alexa talking about how Lily, maybe Lily isn't so nice. I'm not going to bring Lily along. And And I enjoy Alexa. I know that they've done a lot of things with Alexa specifically to keep her safe because she had a few concussions a few years back. You know, they put her in very safe matches. She does great character work. She isn't the greatest in the ring, but she does great character work, and they keep her relevant. And, you know, hopefully this is another bit carrying her forward. Uh, but right now, I'm on the fence with this whole thing. I didn't like what they did with Shayna last week. I liked what they did this week with Nia.
I just, as long as Reginald's not part of this much longer, that's all I care about, because it's just, they're just burying that, and I'm tired of seeing it. I do find it intriguing that Alexa Bliss will be getting into a feud with Shayna Baszler, considering the fact she really hasn't wrestled much over the last year or so, because I know that they've said that Shayna Baszler is actually one of the more safe people to get in the ring with.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we had RK Bro defeating the New Day. RK Bro, I enjoy them. The fact that Riddle after the match was like going for like this super hyped up celebration, Orton gave him like the freaking stink eye. Like, calm down, dude.
Yeah.
And bro,
I'm curious to see how this is going to go going forward. Obviously, they have some kind of an idea of what they're going to do with RK Bro. But the whole thing with the underlying storyline with MVP trying to bring Kofi aboard the Hurt Business, I love what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we've seen what Kofi can do as like, especially as a face, and you know what he can do in the ring and everything. I want to see heel Kofi bad.
And they attempted to do that when the New Day first started, but that didn't last very long.
And then they tried it again too when the Dudley Boys came back, because they were the ones that were in the ring when Bubba and Devon and, oh my God, it's the Dudley Boys get the tables, and Xavier Woods
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
But I want to see it. I think that it would be good, because I think Kofi and MVP would work well together.
We'll see where they go with this. Right now, I mean, it sounds like there are absolutely no chinks in the armor between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Can MVP expose something at some point? You know, out of character and in character interviews with Kofi, Xavier, and even Big E, they're like, no, they're always going to be my bro. No, they're always going to be my bro. We shall see. And Kofi's had a very long and Hall of Fame worthy career in WWE.
100%.
I'd love to see full heel Kofi. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to Ricky Steamboat himself the rest of his career, where it's like, yeah, not even going to really whiff it. Speaking of heels and faces and what have you, Fast and the Furious 9, F9, has done gangbusters at the box office, which I think has turned some heads in WWE, where they may think, oh, John Cena is the bad guy. Might not be the worst idea. I don't see it coming for SummerSlam when he goes against Roman Reigns. But in the future, heel John Cena at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles. the sky is the limit. Does he have a rematch with The Rock? I mean, do they sit there and do Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania 38 and then have John Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania 39, 10 years after their last encounter? I don't know. I'm throwing that out there. I'm going to try to Nostradamus this crap in there. We are going to get Ava Marie versus Nia Jax. It's going to happen.
I know, and it is going to bother me that it's going to happen too. It's bothering me right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, could you imagine? I don't know what they were going to do with the heel turn, because especially because it's crazy how it's leaked out what the heel turn was supposed to be when he was supposed to have his heel turn all those years ago, and then Vince pulled the plug on it. And now I'm starting to think that it makes sense. But do we get the Doctor again, or do we get a different Cena that we've never seen before?
Who knows? Depends on how committed he is and how much time he has. So, all of that, very interesting stuff. I hope we get payoffs on some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of things that we will eventually get a payoff on, we had a extremely similar match between Jackson Riker and Elias. Elias doing his best chicken shit heel. Hey, things aren't going my way. I'm just going to, tuck my tail and run. At some point, Elias needs to win one of these matches by cheating. I think that is coming soon to a Raw near you.
I think the guitar gets involved.
Yeah.
Either he wins a match because he used a guitar, or he loses a match, if he loses a match because of the guitar. It's one of the two. We're going to see that. Yes, there it is.
Hello. I am not Elias. But I do want to know one thing. Who wants to walk with Elias?
I'm just getting tired of just watching him doing these rivalries with guys. And the fact that they're making a bigger deal with Jackson Riker and Elias is kind of disturbing, because, with Riker winning on Monday.
Now, it is what it is. We'll see where they go with this. Again, you know me. I'm Mr. Wait and See and hope it works out for the best.
Well, you know me. I'm just brainless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So also on Monday Night Raw, we had Rhea Ripley going against Asuka in a non-title match. And shockingly enough, we had Rhea Ripley winning a non-title match. But Charlotte predictably comes out there and attacks Rhea from behind. If nothing else, I have to say Charlotte's new ring gear is interesting. It's, a one piece that, with the flames and all that jazz. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give her that.
Agreed.
So that was that. We did have AJ Styles going against Drew McIntyre in a singles match. And this is where Monday Night Raw went completely off the rails. Teddy Long did not come after the match kind of dissolved into a schmaz. and make it into a six-man tag match, playa. But we did end up with Drew McIntyre, the Viking Raiders, versus Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos. Now, I don't know where all of a sudden Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders kind of have come into cahoots, but for whatever reason, they showed up.
Typical WWE. That's all I could tell you.
But in the end, what we did have here to hype for the pay-per-view was Drew McIntyre pinned Bobby Lashley. I'm okay with things like this, building towards the pay-per-view, because it was a six-man tag match. It was not a one-on-one match. So, yeah.
Well, it's good because it's getting the Viking Raiders more exposed.
It is, and I'll give them that, but the fact that the Viking Raiders have absolutely nothing to do with Drew McIntyre and they just show up, all right, yeah. So
It's like the old saying, Jay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
When? Yes, Tim, don't adjust your TV. It is not Saturday, but we are doing the podcast live tonight. I have a busy weekend planned, and we were like going, when are we going to do this thing? It's like going, you know what? We'll do it old school style. We'll do it Saturday night or Friday night, right before SmackDown and Dynamite.
The only thing I screwed up on is I didn't bring the 40.
If the 40 don't get you,
The 5 will.
the 5 will. Colt 45.
Another Evan Marks Hall of Famer.
It works every time. Yeah, right there. Right there. The GOAT, Billy D. Williams. All right. So now that we've got all that out of the way, AEW tonight, Dynamite. One match I'm actually really looking forward to is Wardlow versus Jake Hager in an MMA-style cage fight. Sometimes when professional wrestling tries to mimic cage fighting and legit fighting, it looks like garbage and it comes off like garbage. AEW, when it comes to this stuff, is pretty dang good at not making it look like shit or feel like shit. So I think this is going to be freaking awesome. And Wardlow and Jake Hager, you know, Jake Hager is I think, legit 4-0 in MMA. And
And then
you know, when I saw him in his last fight, his conditioning was a little suspect in the later runs, but he won the fight.
right.
But him going against Wardlow, with Wardlow getting the seal of approval from Jim Ross, I'm going to say that Wardlow is going to win this MMA-style fight. I think it's going to look better than anything we saw on Raw Underground, and it will continue to project the Pinnacle and Inner Circle storyline forward. So I'm looking forward to this match very much. I will, honestly, I prefer seeing this match to the Hell in the Cell match on SmackDown.
Right, I do too.
That's so.
And do you think this is AEW's way of going to WWE? Your move now?
I don't know. I would, you know me. I've been talking about it for years. I want to see Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley in a match like this. I don't care if it's WWE programming, whether it's SummerSlam. I don't care if it's Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. I want to see it on my television where it legit looks like they're beating the hell out of each other. When Drew McIntyre went against Sheamus, it legit looked like they beat the hell out of each other. When you saw the stuff that they posted on Instagram, what happened to their bodies when they went against each other, you're like going, yeah, they beat the holy crap out of each other. I want to see something like that tonight on Dynamite. I want to see something like that between Brock and Lashley.
Agreed.
So there's that. All right, we have the GOAT Orange Cassidy going against Cesar Bonani tonight. The GOAT should win.
He should.
Darby Allin is supposed to be going against Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page on his own. Clearly, the Icon Sting is going to show up and help Darby Allin in this match. It'd be absolutely silly and stupid if Sting does not show up.
That's how they should book it. Maybe we get the Black Scorpion too.
You know what? I hope that happens. I don't know if it'll be as good as like Clash 13 good, but the Black Scorpion should show up on AEW programming, because I'm guessing that WWE does not want to touch that trademark with a 39.5-foot pole.
Imagine if they did do the Black Scorpion and it was Ric Flair again.
Speaking of which, I wonder how far along Lacey Evans is with all the baby news we talked about earlier in the podcast. Is she going to have a Black Scorpion baby? Sting.
Woo!
Yeah. So we got that. We do have Cody and Brock Anderson going against QT Marshall and Aaron Solau. I think that's how it's pronounced.
I don't.
Cody. One thing I appreciate about Cody is he has zero problem with giving the rub to any young talent.
Yep.
And this is again him giving the rub to a younger talent, whether it's teaming with him or being in the ring with that person. So I applaud him for that. I'm looking forward to see what Brock Anderson can do. I've read that he is quite the prodigy as far as being in the ring, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Double A's son.
Agreed.
Beyond that, your favorite, your coworker Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers going against Eddie Kingston, not related to Kofi Kingston, by the way. Penta and Kaz. It definitely feels like Matt and the Good Brothers should go over in this match. And they're going to do some dastardly things over the faces just to get some heat for something to go on in the future.
Agreed.
So,
although anytime Eddie Kingston's on the television, it's good television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Penelope Ford against Julia Hart with the Varsity Blondes in Julia Hart's corner. Penelope Ford is the one who feels like the bigger star at this point. I think, despite that, though, you know what? I think Julia Hart, with the help of the Varsity Blondes, is going to go over with some nefarious tactics.
Probably.
You got to build more people up. You got Dr. Britt Baker at the top level and everybody else. You need to start building other women so they can go against her. We shall see. I know they kind of have Nyla Rose right now again as somebody going against the AEW Women's Champion, but it's like Britt Baker is clearly a heel. Nyla Rose, with her actions, is clearly a heel. But the AEW audience, despite Britt Baker doing what she does, are behind Dr. Britt Baker. So they have to figure. I think they should figure out a way to make it so Britt Baker ain't so likable.
Right. It's just a shame because, you know, they're going to root for who they want to root for.
It's a shameful thing.
Lobster head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is AEW for tonight. Again, I'm looking forward to that Wardlow Jake Hager match more so than I am Ray versus Roman Reigns. And I think Ray and Roman Reigns are going to have a great match tonight. It's just weird that they're having a Hell in a Cell match before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on TV, but this is similar to them having the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal right before WrestleMania.
That never happened.
Sad. All right, so currently, right now, for Hell in a Cell, there are 4 matches booked. There are 2 other ones that I think possibly and probably will happen, but 4 of them are actually booked.
Let's go.
Alexa versus Shayna Baszler is one of them. And in my view, there's no way with what they've done with Alexa that she could lose this match. You've had her do these things for all these months. You've built this character for all this time. She's barely had a match. And when she did, it was super gimmicky. She needs to win this match. Whether it's Vince McMahon probably thinks it's a good idea if the Lily pins Shayna. I don't think it's a good idea.
No, that's a terrible idea.
I don't put it beyond Vince McMahon to have Lily pin Shayna. Alexa Bliss needs to win this match. I think she needs to look pretty strong in this match. So I'm going with Alexa, and I don't know what kind of craziness or nightmare Shayna is going to go through in the match. I don't know how bad of acting we're going to see with this. I don't think it's going to be zombie apocalypse level, but I think it's going to be pretty bad because Shayna is not good at that.
No. And just remember, it might have been gimmicky, but she still pinned a 14-time WWE champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who is your pick?
I'm going with Alexa Bliss.
All right. We have Bianca Belair going against the woman that is going to call the manager. The woman who had the Bayley buddy not blow up properly.
It all went downhill after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bayley is going against Bianca Belair.
Bianca.
On Hell in the Cell.
Bianca. There's no question, Bianca. And not only is she winning, she's my lock for the pay-per-view.
Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock.
Stone Cold Lead Pipe.
I 100% agree. 100%. There's no way Bayley wins this match. They're putting Bayley in there as a challenger, and you know this. I'm just throwing this out there. What the hell has happened to Sasha Banks? She's disappeared. Now I know coming up in the next several months, Sasha Banks is going to be shooting for season 3 of The Mandalorian. But there's still time between then and now to have her do something of note. Whether or not they'll do something of note, that remains to be seen.
Side note to that, you know she got nominated for an Emmy for her appearance on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
So, All right, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, and again, I feel this is going to end up in the cell come Sunday, and Rhea Ripley has to win this match, right?
She has.
Right?
She.
Right?
Well, she.
I'm kind of questioning this, like logically, Rhea Ripley has to win this match, but Vince McMahon and Charlotte Flair always calls into question logic.
The only thing that's missing is the gavels, just the music in the background. I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. Yeah, Charlotte Flair's winning this match, no question.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley should, like you said, Rhea Ripley should win this match. But Charlotte Flair's winning this match.
Sad.
Sad.
Speaking of which, Charlotte Flair this week did an interview where, we brought this up a couple of weeks ago, how Andrade has been working on his English. And when he was on AEW, his English was far improved from the last time we really heard him speak in WWE. Charlotte made it sound like AEW is a temporary stop. He's going there to get better at English and become a bigger star, so WWE has to have him back. I mean, she more or less said, oh yeah, he's going to be back in WWE. He's just working on some things. And I agree with her. He looked like a freaking star when he came out. He sounded great. Hey, you know what? I speak one language competently. He speaks one language very well, and one he speaks pretty well for somebody who it's not his first language. And he's gotten a lot better than specifically when he was at NXT, but still better than when he was on the main roster.
Yeah, only time will tell with that.
Yeah. So there's that.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when he's in AEW. I don't know. I'm going to give it that we're going to wait and see approach before I make a full assessment of what I think is going to happen with Andrade.
Okay. All right. Then we have Lashley going against Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match. Based off of what we saw at the end of Raw, Booking 101 says Bobby Lashley wins this match. I don't know if he's going to use shenanigans. He probably will use shenanigans. Lashley will win this match, and we're going to set ourselves up for the biggest show of the year, SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, in the main event at SummerSlam.
I could see it. Especially because there's all these reports coming out that Brock Lesnar hasn't signed his contract yet, and it's not imminent that he will be returning anytime soon. So that could just be like a smoke and mirrors type of thing to get people off the scent.
Using smoke and mirrors. Not like Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Oh!
Using smoke and mirrors. One thing I did forget to mention about SmackDown tonight, we are getting the Battle for the Crown. And I'm going to say, based off of everything, I think they're having a King in the Ring tournament not that far off from this. It feels like Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win this match and have the crown. I don't know how long of a trip he's going to have as the king, but he's going to be the king of something for a little bit, I feel. And that's all I got to say about that.
I see Baron Corbin winning this match.
All right. We'll find out shortly.
I'm also excited.
All right. Supposedly, possibly, we might get Sheamus versus Ricochet for the U.S. title on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Who do you got? If it happens.
It's a shameful thing.
Lobsterhead, Hairless Man. Yeah, no way Ricochet wins this match. He peed in Vince McMahon's cereal. You don't get off of that sentence anytime soon. Do you think we're going to see Roman versus Ray again on Sunday?
No.
All right.
I think instead we could get the Usos versus the Mysterios.
Okay.
Because
and when it comes to that, what do you think about that?
I think that's how the match ends tonight. Like somehow the Usos get involved and Dominic's going to get involved and everybody's going to be wondering what's Jimmy going to do in this situation. And I think we finally get a resolution to that. And I think maybe tonight's the night Jimmy joins his cousin and his brother and they get the title shot and win the match at Hell in a Cell.
If that match does happen, I completely agree with you. The Usos will beat the Mysterios.
Yes.
And that'll be that. All right. So that's all of those things. All right. Good, bad, and brainless. Brainless one. I'm sorry, beardless one.
It works either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jay, what's your good for this week?
So I'm going to go with my good for this week. So last week on Dynamite, we had the Inner Circle absolutely obliterate the Pinnacle's limo.
Mm-hmm.
I love segments like this. It looked great. It wasn't quite as great as when Sid flipped out after Goldberg destroyed his limo, but it was pretty dang good. Oh my God! Goldberg! 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 But I loved it.
Yes.
What's your good for this week, brainless one? Beardless one.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
He got released, and I didn't want his last memory in WWE being him in a rain poncho during a rain delay at WrestleMania. I needed something else so that I could say, all right, Joe, your career wasn't for nothing in WWE. And I love the new role that they put him in. This is going to be perfect. And I'm excited to see where it goes going forward.
All right. My bad for this week is your second favorite, I don't know, one of your top few favorite female wrestlers, Eva Marie. Not wrestling once again. Here we are 5 years later, and she still doesn't wrestle in a match. Because guess what? She sucks. She's like Great Khali good. But I cannot wait until I see the terrible match between Eva Marie and Nia Jax. But that's my bad for this week.
Only because you know me, I like to be petty every once in a while. So for my bad, Forbes magazine, they had taken a picture of AEW to kind of showcase Tony Khan, with his company, being the son of the Jaguars owner and everything. And he had Tony Khan. The picture was Tony Khan surrounded by all the wrestlers that they could get in there, Britt Baker, Cody Rhodes, stuff like that. And in the background, you could see the Big Show.
Well,
and the Big Show was in what everybody is assuming is going to be his new ring attire in AEW. And
did he look like a giant grape?
I'm glad he blocked us on Twitter. It was that bad.
Sad.
I didn't even have words.
No, wait, that's not sad. That's bad. All right. So brainless this week. I'm going with the stupid pills that Vince McMahon took to put the Hell in a Cell match tonight on SmackDown, happening in 2 minutes. So finish watching this podcast and turn on Fox so you can watch Vince McMahon as his brain melts as that 70 million-year-old dude who knows how to make money, but is stupid as all crap when it comes to booking wrestling these days, puts on a pay-per-view match on Fox. Now, I understand Fox pays him a bunch of money and Fox gets him a big audience. Dumb. Fooled you. Idiot. Brainless.
I'm going with wrestling fans.
Oh, yeah. Making a comeback, wrestling fans.
Hey, I said nobody is exempt from being brainless. That is the rule. So it doesn't matter how many times. If you're brainless, you're brainless.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans, they get it this week. You guys talk about how you want something different, something new, and that WWE keeps doing the same old shit. Give other wrestlers, new wrestlers, a better opportunity. And then what did they do? They fooled us with Eva Marie and gave us Piper Niven. And people complained about Piper Niven. And on top of it, they fat shamed the poor woman. That's just, no. I am sorry. Wrestling fans, you are the brainless for this week.
All right. I guess that's it for this episode 226 of the podcast.
I think we've touched base on everything.
Wait. There's one more thing.
If you liked what you've seen, whether it is on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Oh, man, I messed that up, didn't I?
Or anything. We are at the FNMARKS. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to everything we do as far as our podcast goes. And on Instagram, guess what happened this week? The goat of goats, who has goated more than any goat has goated, whatever, showcased that he is the goat of talk shows. Piper's Pit won the GOAT of talk shows elimination bracket tournament, whatever you want to call it. Piper's Pit won is the greatest talk show of all time.
You know what the funny thing was? It wasn't even close. I think the closest it got was like 82% to 18% in one of the matchups. Piper's Pit absolutely obliterated every bit of that competition. They won 2 of those matchups 100%.
Because he's a GOAT.
He is the greatest talker.
And put on the glasses.
He hit him with a coca.
What is it, Hulk? Yes or no? Yes! With as much cocaine in his body as he could withstand.
Oh, fantastic.
With all that said,
Piper's Pit was victorious.
And
the other
day,
today, on June 18th of 2021, at
an astonishing
days, FN Marks Hall of Famer Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yeah?
Yeah?
All right, we got to 8:02. Does that mean you get cookies tomorrow?
I hope.
Hey, I think it's close. It's close enough in my view. You should get cookies. Anyway.
So for
episode 226 of the FN Marks podcast. I'm Jay.
And I am the brainless one. Make sure you mark out
with your guac out. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good one. Enjoy Hell in the Cell. Enjoy SmackDown tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah? All right.
All right, Jay.
See you.